What's happening, people? We are here. We are live. I know I was literally just live like 30 minutes ago, but we are here. We are live. As promised, we are doing weekly roundup news on transfer news happening all across different leagues. So it won't just be Premier League focused. We're going to talk about pretty much every league within Europe. And obviously, if there's some interesting moves happening to the MLS and the Saudi League, which I anticipate is going to be quite unlikely at the current point in time. But we're going to talk about all the different stuff because there is a lot of moving pieces, guys, outside of Manchester United. And of course, we focus a lot here on Manchester United, but we're trying to diversify a little bit. We're trying to mix it up a little bit. We're trying to, be able to cater to everybody rather than just one fan base. So be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe for the consistency. If you're not going to hit the like button for the video, then hit the like button for the consistency because I'm live 3 times today. For how many hours? I think like 1 hour, 2 hours. So for about 4 hours. For about 4 hours, I'm live, spending 4 hours of my day live on stream, different type of content. So you lot gotta at least respect the grind, respect the hustle, and hit the like button. If you want to join the Minions gang, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel. Of course, the Euros recommences tomorrow, so we got some Euros content coming ahead of the round of 16. We're gonna go back and revisit my predictions before the competition started, and we're just gonna look and see if it's still happening, because I know a few groups that I got right, and I know a few groups I was well off. So we're going to look at that. So be sure to check that out as well. And like I mentioned, I'll be live again later this evening after having my dinner and relax and all of that stuff, where we're going to be playing Elden Ring live on stream, which I am really, really looking forward to. But as of right now, we're going to talk about, there's a lot to talk about, guys. Arsenal want 50 million for Eddie Nketiah. Lukaku might get a reunion with Conte. PSG approach Kvaratskhelia. You see, sometimes I have to say his name twice in my head before I say it out loud. But they approach Kvaratskhelia behind the backs of Napoli. Bologna have accepted that they will have to sell 1 or 2 players, including Calafiori, Italian defender that's having a great Euros so far. There's a lot happening. Who else? Amari Hutchinson just announced, here we go to Ipswich Town from Chelsea. Chelsea managed to get 20-something million for that. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about some players in the Euros that have impressed so far that could possibly get a move in the summer. Of course, buying players off the back of a good competition, a good international competition, is not always the best thing, but it's happened before. We saw it with Cody Gakpo joining Liverpool after the World Cup. We've seen it in the past with players like James Rodriguez joining Real Madrid after the 2014 World Cup. So it happens. So we shouldn't be surprised. But like I said, big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. You know, it's Friday, so Friday tends to be, in my opinion, a quiet day for football. I think it tends to be a quiet day for football. It tends to be a quiet one for kind of news and all of that kind of stuff. Even with Manchester United women's team, there's expected to be 2 more outgoings. And today is the last weekday of the month. Obviously, their contracts finish on the 30th of June. Katie Zellin was announced yesterday that she was leaving. The day before that, Lucia Garcia, Mary Earps yet to be announced, and Nikita Paris next to be yet to be announced as well. So I'm intrigued as to when these announcements exactly are going to take place. Of course, we're not going to be touching too much on Manchester United here, because we spent a whole hour talking about Manchester United, and we spend an entire hour speaking about Manchester United every single day. So today we got about 30 to 45 minutes of just non-Manchester United talk. And we're going to start with this guy right here. It's actually not football related, but I thought it was good to start with this just because it's a positive story by a Leverkusen defender, and funnily enough was linked to Manchester United at some point last summer. If you lot remember, then you remember. But by a Leverkusen defender, Edmond Tapsoba has opened a foundation in his home country of Burkina Faso. In regards to the ongoing political unrest in Burkina Faso, he has said that he wants to help as many people as possible, especially because a lot of people need access to emergency humanitarian aid, etc. And this is how he's spending his wealth, by starting a foundation. So big respect to him. I thought it was good to just start with something nice, something lighthearted, something positive before we kind of get into the nitty-gritty stuff of transfer news. But big respect to Edmond Tapsoba as well, especially as someone hailing from Africa. You know, it's things you love to see. Things you love to see. But this is the first player we're actually going to start with. I remember when I did a watch along last week. I think it was last week when I did the watch along between Georgia and Turkey, and I said to everybody, this guy here who plays for Lens, Mikatadze, looks North African. You lot can't tell me this brother here does not look North African, but it's reported that Monaco are interested in signing him from Metz. RC Lens are also interested in signing him as well. The 23-year-old is having a good Euros. He's actually top goal scorer, playing through the middle for Georgia. I think he's got 3 goals and an assist, if I'm not wrong, but that just shows you how bad the Euros are this year. Not that he's got the top goal scorer, but the fact that the top goal scorers have 2 goals at the end of the group stages. I don't know. I feel like the Euros has not been that entertaining personally. But he's currently top goal scorer in the Euros, and I think he'll be a steal wherever he goes. Metz will definitely make money off him. I think 30 million is reasonable, but off the back of a good international tournament, clubs can always hike up the prices. So that's one to just kind of keep an eye on going forward, especially after the Euros. Obviously, he plays with Kvaratskhelia, who apparently Napoli officials met with him in Germany. We're going to come to that when we talk about that, obviously, because PSG are trying to tap him up from behind. PSG are trying to tap him up behind Napoli's back. Let me finish my sentence properly before it sounds weird. But they are trying to tap him up behind Napoli's back. And of course, Napoli officials have gone down to Germany to have a little word with him. He's adamant that he's focused on the Euros, as he should be with his national team. Hopefully that's the same for this guy right here as well. Another guy linked to a potential move, another player that Manchester United has been linked to in the past, is Kephren Thuram. Reported that the 23-year-old is being looked at by Juve. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Nice lose quite a few of their players. Damasio is reporting that Juve are looking to close the deal by next week, and Nice are open to offers for him. If Nice were open to offers for him, I don't know why Manchester United didn't look for him. Now, if I'm not wrong, his father played for Juve, because I know his brother plays for Inter. And his father is a Juve legend. So I guess he's kind of following in that path. For 23 years old, last year of his contract, Nice are just trying to get probably, I would say, 20 to maybe 25 million for him. If they're able to get that, that's a good deal for them. That is definitely a good deal for them. So that is another transfer to watch out for. Not on any international duty at the moment. But hey, maybe that deal can get done a lot quicker than other people. Another goalkeeper that's having, by the way, for me, goalkeeper of the move of the Euro so far. Now, let me try and pronounce his name. Mamardashvili. I have to sound it out, guys, so I don't butcher the name. Giorgio Mamardashvili, 23 years old, goalkeeper of the tournament for me so far at the Euros. He's keen on a Premier League move. Multiple different clubs are interested in him, not just in the Premier League, predominantly outside of the Premier League. Currently, I think he's at Valencia. I want to say he's at Valencia, and Valencia are looking for anything up to, hear this, 40 million euros. Yeah, he is at Valencia. And he's, for me, I don't know. This is the first time I've been really exposed to him during the Euros, and I've been very, very impressed with his goalkeeping skills. Very tall, 6'6" goalkeeper, big stature. His what's it called? His reach is ridiculous for a goalkeeper as well. 40 million. Valencia could make a good move on this. I think Valencia could definitely make a good move on this. This is another one to kind of keep an eye on. I think there will be quite a few Georgia players that will be able to get a move off the back of the Euros, and I definitely think, obviously, Kvaratskhelia is a household name because of his time at Napoli. But there's maybe another 1 or 2 players, maybe 3, that could be able to get a move. So that's one to definitely keep an eye on. But if we quickly just move to the Premier League. Now, this story is one that developed quite quickly. This is a story that developed quite quickly. Yesterday evening, Leicester and Brighton had agreed a swap deal for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. Dewsbury-Hall. The 25-year-old was to go to Brighton in exchange for Jacob Moda to go to Leicester. So it was going to be just straight swap, player, no cash involved. Lo and behold, Chelsea come in and do what Chelsea do. They swoop in and they try to steal the deal. Now, since then, they haven't agreed anything yet, per se, with Leicester. However, Chelsea were prepared to offer multiple players in this deal. So it wasn't just going to be one player. They were looking to offer Datro Fofana and Cersei Casadei, which to me is ridiculous. Is that 1 minute? Yeah, Chelsea are trying to make money and they're trying to get players as well in the best way that they can. Of course, the swap deal collapsed for Brighton, so Chelsea are far advanced in this. And I think they have actually agreed terms. Let me just actually double check, because I think just before I went live, they had agreed terms. I might be wrong. I might be mixing that up for somebody else. No. So a couple of hours ago, the shout out to Fabrizio coming through with the news, of course, saying that Dewsbury-Hall has given the green light to Chelsea for the move after the formal step to inform Brighton that the deal collapsed had already happened. So basically, what had happened was Chelsea come in after Brighton had agreed terms with Leicester, and Dewsbury-Hall would prefer to go to Chelsea than Brighton. Now, he's keen on the move, personal terms not issue, and it seems to be that talks are ongoing between both clubs, between Chelsea and Leicester, where they're looking at a player swap, maybe also some cash in there. Listen, if you are going after a player, guys, I say this all the time, if you are going after a player, you are not safe if Chelsea come and sniff around. You are never, ever safe for some reason. A player that Chelsea actually can't afford is this guy here, and he's on the thumbnail as well. 80 million, by the way, price tag for him. Reportedly, PSG have been going behind Napoli's back to speak to him, and they are even considering to take some legal action. That's how serious it is, guys. They are considering to take some legal action against PSG because of it. Napoli have accused PSG of illegal practice in pursuit of Kvaratskhelia, and it's no secret that PSG are after him. So we know that Napoli are definitely going to part ways with one or two players this season. I think there's a few players that they've kind of deemed as not selling. People like Lobotka, people, what's that midfielder called? There's another midfielder that they said that they're not willing to sell. Conte has been very clear on it, but it looks like Conte is open to potentially selling someone like Victor Osimhen. Now, Victor Osimhen and Napoli obviously have a gentleman's agreement from last season. They have that with his big release clause. I don't know who's going to be able to pay for that. But Kvaratskhelia is a player that I did not anticipate would probably leave Napoli. I don't think he will leave, but obviously with PSG looking for a replacement for Mbappe, PSG makes sense. That makes it like going to PSG would make sense. Now they are probably one of the few teams that would be willing to pay that 80 million fee. I thought that if they were to pay anything within that region or more, that they would go for someone like Rafael Leao. But Napoli have remained consistent and very firm in the idea that they are not selling him. He is not for sale. And Conte has even come out and said it in the media as well. Now, it's being reported by L'Equipe, big outlet in France, that personal terms has been agreed between Kvaratskhelia and PSG. However, the relationship between the two clubs, between Napoli and PSG, is so bad. It's literally like, apparently it's like rock bottom. So any possible situation of a deal being agreed seems borderline impossible. That's what's being reported in France. Speaking to the media, the Napoli president said, there are clubs that make proposals to players with no authorizations. It is illegal in that club. There's the president of the ECA, but I'm not even surprised about these things in football, obviously indirecting PSG. And this was reported directly by Fabrizio Romano, who then went on to say that he's alluding to the idea that Nasser Al Khalifi, who's obviously the president of the ECA and runs PSG, had approached illegally Kvaratskhelia to agree personal terms with him. Now, this is obviously a guy who's contracted to a job. He's contracted to Napoli. It's not a secret. And obviously, I don't think you can agree personal terms with a player until you've agreed personal terms with you've agreed, or the club have given you permission to speak to him. And that is not the case with Napoli. I think Napoli, by the way, we're going to talk about it. Lukaku at Napoli sounds like a crazy idea. But Kvaratskhelia is one that I'm going to keep an eye on in the coming weeks, because especially after the Euros, it could be a situation where this kind of picks up pace, especially with Napoli probably needing to sell one of their major assets. And I don't know how they're going to get Victor Osimhen out of the door. I don't know how they're going to get him out of the door, because that release clause weighs too heavy. It just weighs too heavy. Now, another move that has been reported in the last hour or so, this guy here, from Everton to Newcastle, now potentially going to Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool looks likely that they will part ways with Luis Diaz. I mean, I've seen Liverpool fans waiting for the day that Luis Diaz leaves the club. Anthony Gordon, Newcastle spent a big price tag on him. If you guys remember, I think it was on Amazon All or Nothing, where they were talking about how this deal got done. They put a lot of effort into getting this deal done for Newcastle, and it looks like Newcastle are willing to sell an asset this season. We've seen, the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, we've seen Alexander Isak, and now this guy here, Anthony Gordon, being tapped up for a potential move. Now, I don't see them selling everybody. Personally, I don't see them selling everyone in their team, but I definitely do see them selling at least one of the three. They will sell Guimaraes, they will sell Isak, or they will sell Anthony Gordon. Now, two of them have been linked to Premier League teams. I think Bruno Guimaraes is the only one with a release clause in his contract, and Anthony Gordon is reported exactly verbatim, word for word, that Liverpool are stepping up their pursuit for Anthony Gordon. It'll be very interesting to see what happens here. Like I said, it'll be very interesting to see. I think in that front line, Darwin Núñez, you lot know I got my opinions on Darwin Núñez, but Darwin Núñez, Mohamed Salah, he's not getting any younger. They need fresh legs. They need young legs. They need players that are fast. I think he would fit more into Liverpool than Luis Diaz does. However, with me saying that, I don't really know what Liverpool are going to look like under their new manager. So I kind of have to have my reservations and let the season start before I start to say who would fit better. But if I was to say who I think would be who's the more complete player, I think Anthony Gordon. Like, even with the Euros, sorry, I don't understand how Anthony Gordon does not get a chance in the team. Like, for me, when I watch Saka playing a ball into the box, etc., and there's no one running in from left wing, there is no one ever running in from left wing. That's where you need Rashford. That's where you need Sterling. That's where you need Anthony Gordon. And that's why I actually hope Southgate crashes out in the round of 16. So he learns from his mistakes of leaving people behind that he should have taken, or leaving players like Anthony Gordon on the bench, and then giving him 5 minutes in the last group stage game. It's kind of ridiculous, because Luis Diaz is stinky in front of goal more than you think. That's true. Leo says, I don't see Gordon at Liverpool. I don't know why they want Diaz out. He's a baller. I don't know. I've always had some questions on Luis Diaz. He is if I was a Liverpool fan, God forbid, but if I would be very frustrated to watch Luis Diaz, because he is a frustrating player to watch. When I watch him against Manchester United, I'm just like, if that was Sadio Mane, I'd be scared of half the time of him having the ball. Luis Diaz, not so much. So I kind of understand sometimes why fans are a bit, skeptical about Luis Diaz. Now, if Newcastle do sell Anthony Gordon, I'm interested to see what they're going to sell him for. Because what did they buy him for? I think they bought him for was it 70 million? I think it was how much did they? Oh, damn! He only paid 40. They paid 45 million, which was including add-ons. So they paid 40 million fee plus 45 million. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try and go on to sell him for something like 60 to 70 million. Try get a profit. That's what the Arabs are gonna try to do. So this is one I'm gonna keep an eye on it as well. There does seem to be a lot of left wingers being sold in this market right now. Obviously, Rafa Leao is not being sold, but Luis Diaz, Barcelona have been interested in him. That's no secret. They just probably don't have the finances to buy him. Obviously, Anthony Gordon, Kvaratskhelia, Marcus Rashford. There's a lot of left wingers being linked to moves right now in and around Europe. But this guy here has switched up. He's left Chelsea for Ipswich Town. Obviously was on loan at Ipswich Town, helped them get up to the Premier League. Won their player of the season, was a big part of them coming up to the Premier League, and now has left Chelsea on a permanent. By the way, just I think it was like a month ago. It was being reported that Chelsea deemed him as unsellable. They had no intention to sell him. Look how people just lie in the transfer market. They just be lying. 22 million plus add-ons included, which is not bad. Arsenal also, and this is, by the way, guys, done deal. He's on his way to do his medical. Arsenal as well get a percentage because they had a sell-on clause when they sold him to Chelsea. And this is what, by the way, Chelsea seem to be doing. And this is why I reference them a lot when we have transfer talk. They're just churning players. Like, they bring a player, boom, 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 churn them out, sell them again. How many young players have Chelsea brought over the last 2 years? Tell me what their transfer strategy is. I don't know what their recruitment strategy is. I genuinely don't. If I was a Chelsea fan, I would be annoyed about it. Like, I actually think I would actually be annoyed about it, because there is no logic to the players that they move for, the players that they sign, the players that they sell. It's just they sell, they buy, they sell, they buy. Are they trying to make money off players? Are they trying to do a Salzburg and them kind of teams where they're trying to flip players and make money? Are they trying to, develop players? Are they trying to buy young prospects and develop them? There's so many players that they've brought in the last 2 years just since being under Clear Lake ownership. And there's no clear recruitment strategy for me. They go from being linked to Alexander Isak. They go from buying Caicedo, Enzo, and Lavia all in the space of 6 months. 6 months. Lavia, who we haven't seen because he's been injured. They buy so many young players. On top of that, they buy random players like Nkunku, Mudryk, Chuameka, all these guys, Raheem Sterling, and it just doesn't make sense. For me, like, maybe I should ask a Chelsea fan, because I know that there's Chelsea fans that despise the ownership, and I know that there's Chelsea fans that believe in the vision. But I just don't understand, especially like I remember when they brought Amari Hutchinson, less than 2 seasons ago, and everyone was like, this is so random. Everyone was like, this is so random. It was random for Arsenal to sell him, but it was also random for Chelsea to sell him, then to just send him out on loan, and then to just sell him for 22 million. Let's see, guys. Chelsea transfer market. I want to see what they brought him for. Let's see what they brought him for. Because if I look at their transfer market list, I know I'm just going to laugh. I just know I'm going to laugh. Oh, why is my internet being slow? Okay. So they've already brought in, by the way, one player, Estavio from Palmeiras, for 34 million euros. Yeah. And last season, they did sell quite well. Let's see what so they spent 466 million euros and they sold 276 million worth of players. Now, last year, of the players that they brought, Moises Caicedo, Lavia Nkunku, Cole Palmer, Axel Disasi, Nicholas Jackson, Ugochukwu, Roberto Sanchez, Petrovic, David Washington, I don't think I've ever seen him, Angelo, Diogo Moreira, don't know who he is. And then they brought through a few players from the academy team who they had brought a year ago before that. The year before that, Enzo Fernandez, I forgot about Wesley Fofana, Mudryk, Mark Cucurella, Sterling, Koulibaly, Badashili, Manduke, Gusto, Chukwuemeka, Kasade, who they're selling, who they're trying to sell right now. Aubameyang, Andre Santos, Fofana. They brought João Felix on loan. A bunch of other loan players as well. They brought through young players like Levi Colwill, etc. through the academy. Doesn't make any sense. Romelu Lukaku, till today, I forget that he's a Chelsea player and he just keeps going out on loan. I actually forget till today that he's a Chelsea player and they just keep sending him on loan. Of course, that window, they didn't really buy much. They spent their entire flipping transfer budget on Romelu. They spent 118 million euros, and of that, 113 of that was on Romelu Lukaku. Of course, they had to sell quite a lot because of everything that was happening with their owner at the time, and then they ended up, the club ended up getting sold. But for me, there's just question marks over Chelsea's recruitment strategy and the logic surrounding everything that they do. And like I said, maybe I should talk to a Chelsea fan about this. Maybe they can give me some better insight into it, because me personally, I don't understand. Don't forget the 20 million in add-ons for Stavio. That is crazy. 20 million in add-ons for a young player who's like 18, 19 or something. 17, I think he's quite young as well. That is brazy to me. That is brazy. But you know what's not as crazy? It's not as crazy as Arsenal demanding 50 million for Eddie Nketiah. Putting him on the market, of course, they need a striker. It's no secret for me. I think there's a few pieces missing to their puzzle. One of it, a main part of it, is their number 9 striker. I don't think Jesus is the answer for it. I think he can be that super sub. But giving this guy 120 million, 120k, I think, or 100k a week. Lukaku was not a Clear Lake blue code by the way. Yeah, I know. I'm saying it was the last window under Abramovich, but there was just so much uncertainty around everything that was happening with Abramovich. There was basically logistically nothing that could be done. But they gave this guy 100k. They gave Nketiah 100k. Gave him the number 14 shirt, heritage, historic number for Arsenal. Then to say 50 million. If Arsenal managed to get to 50 million for Eddie Nketiah, it just shows you that Manchester United are crap at celebrating. I mean, if Chelsea can get 22 million for Hutchinson, for Amari Hutchinson, there's no reason why United shouldn't be able to get at least 30 million for Jadon Sancho. That's not me saying Jadon Sancho is worth more than Amari Hutchinson, but for the experience that he has at senior level, etc., there is more selling points. Manchester United cannot demand prices the way that these clubs are, because 50 million for Eddie Nketiah is outrageous. And you know what? I think there's actually a club out there in France, maybe in Italy, that might pay that 50 million. I'm not joking. They might pay like 40 million plus add-ons. I'm not kidding. They might be able to do that. And I will be damned if I have to see Arsenal's negotiation team and their CEO and DOF and all of them guys there able to get this deal done. It would be so annoying. Honestly, it would be annoying. But that is that. And last but not least, just from Premier League, done deals. This here is another done deal similar to the Amari Hutchinson one. Ben Godfrey to Atalanta. Everton are selling, guys. Everton are selling comfortably. 10.5 million, I think it was, for Godfrey. Off to Atlanta. They also want to get Yakubu Minta from Newcastle, who was on loan, I think, to PSV. I might be wrong. It's PSV or Feyenoord or Ajax, one of them. On loan there. I remember watching him in AFCON. That's where I kind of picked up on him. But Everton want to get him in, so of course to get him in, they need to be selling. And they've sold this guy right here. 10.5 million. That's not really bad business. That's not really bad business. But one player that has been kind of linked to a move, and like I said, tournament football, things like the Euros, the Copa America, the World Cup, a lot of people get to see maybe players that they wouldn't always see. Let's be honest, not everybody watches Serie A, not everybody watches La Liga, not everybody watches the French league, not everybody watches the Dutch league. So you get exposed to players that you might not get exposed to. And this guy here, for me, is probably the biggest topic of discussion in terms of players that are performing well at the Euros. Bologna have accepted, by the way, that Riccardo Calafiori is going to leave this summer after the Euros. They now feel like it's virtually impossible to keep him, and they've anticipated some big proposals. Juve have the green light from the player, and this is directly being reported by Fabrizio Romano. It was reported late last night. Juve have terms agreed with the player, and they have the green light from him to approach the club, but they do not have any agreement with the club. No one's really spoken to the club. Multiple Premier League teams are interested as well, including the name that I've heard the most is Arsenal and Liverpool. If he ends up at City, can't say I wouldn't be surprised. Personally, I can't say I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know why Manchester United are not looking at him. Just just watching him the other day, I think it was in the Croatia game for Italy. I was so impressed at his ball playing ability and his getting forward ability, like his ability to dribble and progress the ball as a defender. I was so impressed with it. And I'll be honest, guys, I've heard of him this season, but I can't say it's a player that's been on my radar consistently. But I've heard of him coming in as well to the Euros. The Euros has definitely exposed me to more of him, and there's no harm in kind of admitting that. So I think this will be one guy that might get that big move. I think he will get the big move. The real question is how much will how are you remixing his name already? How much will Calamari be sold for? There's a 40% sell-on fee for FC Basel. Yeah, so FC Basel have a 40% sell-on fee. I think they could get 60 million for him. 60 million wouldn't be bad business, right? If they've got a 40% sell-on fee and they sell him for 60 million, I don't think that would be horrible business. It won't be the worst for sure. I don't think it will be the worst type of football. I think worst type of business. Sorry, I think it's quite reasonable. I definitely think it's quite reasonable. Let me just refresh to make sure. I always have to kind of keep an eye on any Manchester United news. Any Manchester United news just announced 15 minutes ago. Not that anyone cares, but Joslu has left Real Madrid. So what they did is they signed him permanently to then sell him to Qatari side Al Qarafa. The 34-year-old is currently playing for Spain, and then will go on obviously to go to Qatar and go play out there. But that's that. Another player linked to a move. It seems to be like a lot of players leaving the Italian league, maybe, and maybe switching it for the Premier League. I'm not too sure. But this guy here, I think he was that he took the short end of the straw when he didn't leave after Napoli won the league, personally, because I think his stocks has gone down. He agreed a new contract with them, had a bigger release clause. I think his release clause is around 120 million. Nobody can afford to pay that. Nobody wants to pay that, especially when he's had a normal season. He hasn't had an amazing season similar to the year that when Napoli won the title. Napoli will sell him. Between him and Kvaratskhelia, they're going to sell one or the other, in my opinion. Arsenal have been linked to him. Chelsea were heavily linked to him for months. For months, Chelsea were linked to him. And now it's reported that Chelsea cannot afford him or Alexander Isak. They are, imagine that, Chelsea cannot afford to pay 100 million for either of them. So it could be more likely that he goes elsewhere. It's confirmed that Victor Osimhen is expected to leave this summer, and he's only 25 years old. But I just think there's question marks about where he could go. Last season, I would have said PSG, but with PSG having Gonzalo Ramos and Kolo Muani, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And I look at it and think, what other clubs could physically afford to pay? Can I share a link that explains Man United's potential FFP issue? Yeah, you can. You can. I mean, I always try my best to explain the FFP stuff, but you can definitely share it in the chat, and I don't mind going through it. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow on stream. But yeah, that's the update on Victor Osimhen. Where is he going to go? I don't know, but it's reported obviously that Napoli have accepted that Conte wants Lukaku. So they kind of have accepted that the manager newly appointed of Napoli wants Lukaku. I don't know what is this love story between Lukaku and Conte. And he reportedly said to the media that as far as Osimhen is concerned, just as I knew very well about the situation with other players, on which I placed an absolute veto. Having said that, I know what the situation is regarding Osimhen. I know that there are agreements, and that is out of my control, i.e. there's a gentleman agreement between the club and him when he signed that extension, and they've accepted that the time has come now for them to keep up their end of the stick. Whether they do it or not, I think they can definitely keep up, by the way, their end of this of the agreement. But it's just whether any club is going to come in and buy him. That's the question. But this guy here, if he does leave, then this guy here will join Napoli. Now, I don't know how Napoli fans would feel about this personally. This guy has gone from, bro, how many teams has he been at? How many Italian teams has he been? Now, am I bugging out? I need to double check. And it's crazy the disrespect he gets. Where has he gone? He's gone from, okay, so he was at Inter Milan for a bit. Oh yeah, I forgot he was at Inter Milan, Chelsea, and then back to Inter Milan for a year on loan. Roma. This guy just jumping. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to AC Milan at some point, or maybe Juve or something. Then Inter fans would definitely dislike him. But this guy here has been linked. Now, the asking price after spending 100 million on him. After spending 100 million on him, 98 million to be exact, it's reported that Chelsea are demanding a fee of at least 25 million. At least. So if Napoli managed to sell Victor Osimhen for 100 plus, and they spend a little bit of that, they will end up getting Romelu Lukaku. Now, other clubs are not really interested in him, but it's reported that the sale of Victor Osimhen weighs very heavy on Napoli's interests on Romelu Lukaku. Now, 25 million is ridiculous. Ridiculous. 25 million is ridiculous. AC Milan were interested in Lukaku as well, by the way, but their number one target was reported as Xerxes. If United get there before them, then they might turn their attention to Lukaku. But right now, the love story it's a love triangle, guys. It's a love triangle. Conte, Lukaku, Osimhen. Osimhen wants to leave. Conte would like to keep him, but has accepted that there's a gentleman's agreement between him and the club. And if he leaves and they manage to get money for him, they will go on and buy Lukaku. Ornstein has posted. Let's see what Ornstein's saying. Let's see what David Ornstein is saying. And to be honest, this is within what's it called? The topic of discussion. It's transfer talk. So it's within it. Manchester United seriously considering move to sign Matthijs de Ligt from Bayern Munich. No club talks yet or certainty moves, but FC Bayern Munich centre back option is increasing for Manchester United. This is independent. Keyword, guys. This is independent from the ongoing Jared Branthwaite interest. So essentially, what he's saying is, despite the fact that Manchester United are seriously considering to buy de Ligt, this is outside of what's it called? What they say in here. Let's read the article. Go on to say the 24-year-old centre-back is viewed as an increasing viable candidate as United's efforts to strengthen their backline. Club-to-club negotiations are yet to take place and there's no certainty the move will happen. However, he has emerged as concrete target. So essentially, he's just a target and it's just been confirmed as that. But it does not weigh on the idea of Manchester United winning the race to sign Jared Branthwaite or not. But just quickly on Lukaku, I don't know, man. I think 25 million is a bargain, guys. I think 25 million is a bargain. And last but definitely not least, on the topic of strikers, Serhou Guirassy. Here we go. Another player that has a relatively low release clause in comparison to other strikers. 17.5 million release clause has been triggered by Dortmund. Signed on the dotted line. He will be their striker next season. I think he was second top goal scorer in the league last year. Stuttgart, comfortable taking that 17 million, running with it. Borussia Dortmund reportedly very impressed with him during the negotiations and just his character, his personality, everything. He scored over 20 goals last year. 28 years old, so I'm not too sure. 28 years old, so I'm not too sure how many years they'll get the best of him, but at least now they'll have a striker. Now they have to agree now with Fulkrug as to whether they're going to keep him or not and what his role is in the club, because I can imagine that Guirassy will come in and be that guy up top for them. Of course, if they have Fulkrug and they have Haller coming off the bench, that is some two good striker options alongside Guirassy. For me, that's two great options. Minnow, why do you insist only on English players to Man United? Don't be a troll, bro, because I will ban you again. I will put you on timeout again on the channel. Don't say silly stuff. Don't say silly stuff. I like de Ligt. The only issue for me is injuries and wages. Yeah, we touched on it on the earlier stream before about the whole injury stuff. Missing how many games did he miss? I think it was 20 something. I think it was 20 something that he missed this season. So yeah, that was the only thing for me. But yeah, if you lot missed it, I don't know. The response I'm seeing about the response I'm seeing about the Ligt is people tend to be concerned. People are concerned about the fee. It's reported that Dortmund, by the way, wants 60 million for him. He's on high wages as well for Dortmund. The injury stuff as well. I did say it before. I did mention it before that I do think that he was like fifth, sixth choice option. So the fact that United are really considering him, maybe United don't have that much centre back options within their price value. Maybe that's the thing. The price value that they look like they are willing to spend is about 40 to maybe max 50 for a defender. And maybe the defenders that they want, they're being priced out of it. The Branthwaites, etc. So maybe that's one. Obviously, we'll kind of keep an eye on. That's one that we will definitely keep an eye on. But like I said, last but not least, Guirassy to Dortmund. That is a done deal. But on that note, guys, big up to everyone that's been locked in for this random. Did he tweet about them again? Did he tweet about Ornstein? Did Ornstein tweet about him again, or was it what we just spoke about? No, it was just what we spoke about. No, it was just it was just what we spoke about. By the way, I think it's funnily enough, I mentioned this on stream before this stream when we were talking about De Ligt, and I was saying that if United go in for De Ligt, it's because he's not a main option, and they're basically being priced out of any other moves for Jared Branthwaite and the Todibo situation with the club. But like I said, big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. I will be back live in about an hour and a half. I'm gonna have some dinner, just chill for a bit. I've been sitting on this chair for like the last two and a half hours or something. But I'll be live again. This time it's gonna be a chilled one. We're gonna be playing Elden Ring live on stream. I think that's enough football talk for the day, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's enough football talk. When I talk about football every single day, sometimes in the evening, I just don't want to spend my time talking about football. Listen to those sirens as well. What is going on outside? Sushi gang. Funnily enough, I am having sushi. That's the funny thing. I am actually gonna have sushi. So I will be back in about an hour and a half where we will play Elden Ring live on stream. Hopefully my capture card works because I haven't used it for a long time. So I need to set it up and all of that stuff. Big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. Add some more food emojis. Say no more. I'm gonna add some rice and banana. I'm gonna add some rice and banana. This is why I can never be a streamer. Bear talk about the same thing every day. Yeah. Guys, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Talking about the same things every day, sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy. I actually think like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to say the same stuff over and over again. But it kind of reminds me of just like having conversations with your friends or your family when you're talking about football. You're talking about the same stuff. Me and my friends be talking about the same consistent stuff when it comes to football. We argue about Bruno. We argue about Rashford. We argue about the Anana, Maguire. Like we talk about the same stuff over and over and over again. So streaming is kind of just the same thing. It's like it's kind of the same thing in my opinion. Nah, chill on that rice and banana, my G. Don't listen. If you ain't tried it, don't knock it till you've tried it. Like guys, I'm being dead ass. Go to a Somali restaurant and try banana with rice, with meat, with chili sauce. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I went to a Somali restaurant in London the other day, yeah. And Somali restaurants now in the UK, it's becoming predominantly non-Somali audiences because people are catching on. People are catching on to how much the food slaps. I have asked Flexing them I asked to do our end of year dinner in a Somali restaurant. I never heard back from Flex. But listen, Somali food slaps. Rice, meat, aka hilib, banana, salad, some shignit, aka chili sauce. Beautiful. But big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe. I'll be back later. So I hope to catch a lot of you lot there, where it's not always football, guys. Sometimes we're here to just talk about other stuff in it. If you're watching this back on replay, make sure you hit the like button. And until later, but then also tomorrow for football stuff, guys. We will be back, man. I'm out. Peace.